right? Because they reflect who they think we are back to us. There's someone who said, we are not who we think we are. We're who we think other people think we are. Like, what? Is personality a lie? Can you change your personality? Are you your personality? These are all really great questions that almost everybody I know struggles with at some point. I struggled with it myself. And the answers might surprise you. I found out that I'm not the person I was when I was 12, and I hope you're not either, right? The things you believe, the way you see the world, the way you act and behave, that naturally we're going to go through different ways of learning, different ways of growing, different ways of seeing the world, different experiences. Everything changes us. We're not just a ship passing through the ocean collecting barnacles as we go, right? We have choices. And when we make those choices, they change us, right? So if you're 18 and you decide to go into the Army or the Air Force, that's going to change the course of your path. If you're deciding to get married to the first person that you fall in love with, right? Maybe you're 16, 17, 18, 20, whatever, you fall in love with someone, you get married to them, that's going to change your life path. All these things, right? You read certain books, they influence you. You go, aha, now I understand something I didn't understand before. So all these things change us, which is why at some point we want to begin to curate the direction that we go, right? We want to get out of the passenger seat of life and get into the driver's seat of life, right? We want to stop being the effect of all the things around us and maybe decide to be at cause. In other words, to take agency over the direction that our life is driving. So welcome, I'm Jonathan Logan, and glad you're here. I'm here with my co-host, Morris. He is with Create, Grow, Profit, and he's a content creator, and he's a content trainer. So thanks for joining me today, Morris.
Thank you, Jonathan. Question about personalities. Does that mean that if I want to change things about my personality, I have to change my environment as opposed to changing myself?
Yeah, you can, certainly. So everything influences us, right? The weather influences us. They know that people are happier in sunnier climates than they are in colder, cloudier, rainier climates, right? Just in general. We know that if your house is clean and organized, that typically your lifestyle is clean and organized. We know that if you are someone who works out at the gym, that you tend to have a better brain because brain-derived neurotrophic factor changes your thinking, right? That's a chemical that your brain gets when you work out hard in the morning. We know that if you get early morning sunlight, that you tend to sleep better, and sleep changes the way you integrate your life, the way your brain processes while you sleep. It also cleans itself while you sleep, right? And so it's like a wind chime. One bangs into the other and they all influence each other. So if we want to first become aware of that, that's excellent. What's influencing me? What am I seeing in my life? What am I reading? What am I paying attention to? Where is my attention going? Am I in control of my attention, or am I doing the same thing over and over and over again? So the first part, like with the 4 levels of learning that we talked about the other day, the first part is always going to be awareness. And sometimes, like you hear about a midlife crisis, that's where people get a sudden awareness that they're way far away from where they thought they were, but their life is not exactly what they perceived it to be.
What does my personality include? So, for example, I'm a big tea drinker. I can't drink coffee. I don't feel good after drinking coffee.
Right?
So is that part of my personality? Is that part of who I am? What is my personality?
Yeah, I think personality is the way it's a combination of things. It's the way we interact with the world. It's the way we see ourselves. It's our identity. It's the way other people see us, right? Because they reflect who they think we are back to us. There's someone who said, we are not who we think we are. We're who we think other people think we are. I'm like, what? It's like, so I'm not who I think I am. I'm who I think Morris thinks I am, or my sister, or my best friend, or my partner thinks I am. And they reflect that back to me because they're treating me in the way they think I am, right? So for example, in abusive relationships, obviously the person stays in the abusive relationships for a number of reasons, but one is because they believe that they deserve it, or that they can't escape it, or that the abuser is doing something because they deserve it. These are different ways of understanding it. People might stay at a job longer than they want to because they don't feel they can go out and create something new and create their own business, or go get a better job, or go back to school and learn some more education. So we do what we believe, and what we believe becomes part of our personality. There's a huge mix of that.
So after what you just said, it sounds like my personality is a reflection, or what I see in the reflection of other people reacting towards me. It's like other people are the mirror of my personality. Is that it?
Yeah, there's again, personality is a complex, grouping of things. One is like your general life tone. Are you a happy person? Are you an angry person? Are you a quiet person? Are you an extroverted person? All of these make up personality, right? And so the key is that some of these we've taken on from our youth, right? Like the first couple of years of life, you're just taking in information from your parents, from your grandparents, siblings, what have you. Then you go to preschool and you get all these other influences and teachers and maybe a religion and all these different things. Then you begin to get social media and TV and the surroundings in the real world. It's a big difference for your personality whether you grew up in a high rise in Singapore versus, say, in a small cabin out in the middle of Montana. You're going to have very different worldviews, which influences your personality as well.
What about fake it till you make it? Like if I can't change my personality, then I'm just going to fake it until I get the results that I want.
Of course, yes. Fake it till you make it is a real thing because what happens is when we decide, let's say I decide I want to be a triathlete, right? I work out in the gym, I exercise. Okay, but let's say I want to be a triathlete. I'm going to go do that. It's going to be amazing. Well, the first thing I have to do is decide to do the things towards that. So I have to begin to visualize myself and see myself and believe that I can, right? If you believe that you can, then you're more likely to do it. Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or that you can't, you're right, because you will act and operate on the beliefs that you have about whether you can or whether you can't. So if you believe you can, you begin to do it. You're faking it. You're taking on the identity. Well, if I was going to be a triathlete, what would I do? Well, I would change my sleeping patterns. I would change my eating patterns and my nutrition. I would get a coach, just like a video coach. Okay, great, perfect. I would also get a running coach and a swimming coach and so forth, and a biking coach. And I would get the correct gear to do it, just like making a video. I have to have the correct gear. So you begin to build around you the container of things and ideas, beliefs, and behaviors that support the personality of being a triathlete. And you hang out with other people who are doing it, right? That's the best thing. If you want to become something, hang out with those kind of people, right? And that you become like the people who are around you because they're reflecting back to you. Hey, Morris, welcome to the Triathlete Club. We're glad we run every Saturday. We swim on Sunday. Then on Mondays, we cycle. So, we talk about these things. And we do weightlifting 3 other days and yoga and so forth. So we begin to share ideas around that. And the more we do that and self-reflect and come back and forth with that, the more we become like it. So at first, you're just faking it. And eventually, then you're becoming it.
So does that mean we can change our personality?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it starts with awareness. We decide that we want to be something more. Let's say I wanted to be a podcaster, right? I've never done it before. Right? Good example. So I have the gear, I have to have the coach, I have to have the support and the team. All these things have to come together so that I can do it. At first, it's like, well, what do I say? What do I do? Right? And then eventually, at podcast number 150, it's like still water. It's calm. It's perfect. It executes wonderfully. Everything is running smoothly, all and so forth. And so that becomes that.
Does that mean that, for example, last year you never thought that you have the personality of a podcaster?
I think it didn't cross my mind until I started wondering about it. And then we talked about it. And then we begin to do it. And then it begins to improve. And next thing, it's just like the triathlete. It's the same thing. I've seen triathletes. I thought they were cool. I'd like to do that. And I start behaving that way and doing those things. And next thing, the personality changes.
That's awesome. So all of us following your podcast, we see you change your personality in this area. We can witness it.
Right. Exactly. It's like I used to do corporate trainings for business. And the first time I got up in front of a room, I was terrified. By the time I stopped doing it, it was like not only was I able to just do the entire presentation, I could flex and flow with the questions. The first times I did it, I had to take the entire presentation like I was dumping out the whole bucket of water. But then over time, I was able to pour a little out, gauge the audience, understand the questions that were coming, see where their level of training was, and be able to assess it and immediately integrate it and tie it in with the other people who were there, all while remembering where I was in my presentation. So you begin to get meta to what you're doing, which takes you to a whole nother level.
You make it sound kind of easy and fun to evolve and grow and change parts of our personality, but me personally, I don't find that an easy thing to do. How do you do it in your own life? How can you keep evolving like that and just, throwing away parts of your personality that don't serve you and building new personalities that do serve you?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we have to know that we've been doing it our whole lives, right? I mean, when you were 1 years old, we were wearing diapers and we were crawling around on the floor. We're not doing that anymore, right? Hopefully, it's like at least not till you're 95. But the funny thing is, it's like you constantly changing anyway, right? You didn't see yourself as a car driver when you were 5, but then you see yourself as a car driver when you're driving a car, and you went through these stages of learning and changing and developing around it. We're constantly changing. The key is, can you go from being the passenger in your life in certain areas to the driver? Do you want to learn how to podcast? Do you want to learn how to make videos? Do you want to learn how to have an online business? Do you want to learn how to be a consultant or make something? Are you a maker? You want to learn how to be a potter or do woodworking? Anything that you want to do that you're not currently doing requires a slight change, right? And to understand that you can be, do, and have almost anything you can imagine if you're capable of being it, right? Like like we talked about this before. I'm not going to be the 7 foot tall, big guy on the basketball court. Not going to happen.
What about the conversation between introverts and extroverts? Like, can a introvert become an extrovert? Is that part of personality or is it something else?
That's a great question. So, what the research shows is that over time, younger people who are extroverted turn to mellow out and become more introverted. And people who are introverted when they were young tend to open up and express more as adults and become more extroverted if it's a healthy process, right? Anything can turn us into introverts, trauma, fear, anger, upset, so forth. And anything can help you grow and become more if you just go out and apply yourself. So, introversion and extroversion tends to be how we see ourselves, but there is also a slight genetic component, right? Like, I wake up with energy every day. It's just, my school teachers hated it. It's like, can we shut this guy up? Can we put him in a corner? Can we get him out of here? And in fact, that happened. That's why I love books so much, that my fourth grade teacher was like, you have too much energy for my class. I'm going to take you to the library and have the librarian deal with you. And she would drop me off every day for a couple of hours at the library. And so I started reading books. So you never know what is going to influence your life.
It's funny that developed your love for books and not your hate for books because they put you there as punishment.
It was the librarian. She said, what do you like? I said, I like turtles and frogs. She goes, great, let's go get you a book on amphibians. I said, what's an amphibian? She goes, aha. And so she began to work with me. It's sort of like why a lot of people like homeschooling, because they're working with the child one-on-one or two-on-one or whatever. And they get to follow their path of what they're curious about. And then that helps you develop who you want to be. So, for example, you can be anyone listening to this podcast right now and decide that you really want to learn something. It could be origami. It could be bread making. It could be how to podcast, any of these things. Anything that you want to learn more of is saying, I want my personality to grow into that area. I want to become more. I'm going to add this to my list of things of who I see myself as and what I can do and what I can be.
You're very passionate about helping people grow, evolve, reach higher mental awareness. And one of the programs you've built is for stop smoking.
Yes.
And so that's also a bit part of personality, maybe, that somebody identifies as a smoker and you have a program to help them change that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so what we find is, this is so fascinating, because we find is people who consistently have difficulty quitting smoking isn't so much the addiction of nicotine, because we can get rid of that. I mean, if I put you in a hotel room for a week, let's say 10 days just at the most, 99% of the nicotine addiction is gone. But the identity hasn't changed, because the craving, the emotional, psychological craving is what people get that holds them to it. So they see an identity of themselves. I'm a smoker. I'm like, well, what else are you? What do you mean? Well, are you an eater? Do you eat? Are you a sleeper? And you work at a bakery, so you're a baker, and you have all these other parts of your identity, thousands of things. You're a cousin, you're a friend, you're a son, a daughter, what have you. All these relationships, all these things you like. I'm a big fan of Real Madrid, then, all these things, whatever you are, but they don't identify with that because they're focused on the one thing they don't want. And the more you focus on what you don't want, the more you become it. It's like sticky. It's like, the more you push yourself into silly putty or some other kind of putty, the harder it is to get off your hands. So it becomes part of you.
So what is it in your Stop Smoking Forever program that helps a smoker change their personality into a non-smoker?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's a couple of elements. First of all is hypnosis. We have 4 crazy good hypnosis sessions that will help people at the subconscious level. And you can find out more about that on the webpage. But the second thing that we do is we help them change their physiology, right? So have you ever been in that feeling of fight or flight? Like, I just want to get out of here. I'm totally stressed. I have anxiety or anger or whatever angst. We can show you how, and we do show them how, to change their body so they can literally in seconds change from that agitated state of fight or flight into relaxed, where they can have that craving that rises up for nicotine, and then relax and it's gone. If I lock someone in a room for 20 minutes, the craving for nicotine goes away physiologically. The psychological might not go away. So we deal with that as well. But once we learn to change the physiology intentionally, then we can change the psychology.
That sounds like the fake it till you make it, but in a more relaxed process, as opposed to being stressed in the periods of faking it.
That's right. That's right. And we also work with identity. So that identity is that fake it till you make it. It's like, well, if I keep seeing myself as a happy, healthy non-smoker for life and happy, healthy life, and I start seeing the money stack up that I'm saving because I'm not spending $8 a pack of cigarettes twice a day kind of thing. So if I start seeing myself as a different person, I'm creating a neurological pathway in my head to become the other person, right? What do you want to do if you want to become a triathlete? You watch videos of triathletes. You go to the races. You go to the events. You buy the t-shirt and the gear. You begin to do the things neurologically that change who you are, and you become someone else. Same thing with a smoker, right? We get rid of all the smoking paraphernalia. We get rid of all the stuff. We even change things, you can do all your laundry. You can clean the blinds or the sheets, everything, so there's no more smoking smell, and you change the smell of the house. So there's a giant list of things you can do. Some people don't need a lot. Some people just go, oh, you're right. I'm not a smoker. And you know what? I didn't smoke on that 6-hour flight. And I didn't like jump out the plane at 30,000 feet, right? I can do that. And it changes suddenly their identity. They realize that they're separate from the behavior. It's just a behavior. Right? Other people need a lot more reinforcement and support. That's why we have the whole program.
Jonathan, this is so fascinating. Where can people go, to learn more about the program and learn more about you?
First of all, it's our YouTube channel. If you're seeing this on YouTube, please subscribe, like, do all that fun things, and share. The second thing is our website that we're currently using is stopsmokingforever.life. Stopsmokingforever.life. And if you're watching this or you're listening to this as a podcast, please subscribe, share, have some fun with us.